My name is Dara Anya. My mother's side of the family is from Iran. My father's side of the family is from Nigeria. I was born and raised in Houston. Yeah, so really the first time I started really acting or doing anything in that sort of theater aspect of it was freshman year in college when I did Intro to Improv. And I realized that I really liked and enjoyed doing theater and those sort of productions. And I've always loved film, like watching them. It was always like a great communal experience. Just like the family and my brothers just sitting down to watching films and stuff like that. So I've always really liked doing that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And then it was after college that I started actually pursuing any sort of education in film. I guess the type of comedy I like dark comedy a lot. Like if you think of like the Coen brothers, Fargo, like just like that type of comedy is really funny. But I also like I guess classical comedy as well, sort of like because I grew up watching Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis films and like Four Marx Brothers, and those have always been funny to me. And also like Charlie Chaplin and all those sorts of things. So many come to mind. There's, I'll give you a couple of scenes. So there's one in Luther, which is a BB show starring Idris Elba. There's one moment where he's on the couch in his apartment and he's basically playing Russian roulette with himself. And it's just very dramatic and because I really love Idris Elba. And like the cinematography for Luther is like amazing. So just like that scene in general is just really awesome. Another moment would be in 2001: A Space Odyssey when I forget what the main protagonist's name is, the astronaut, when Hal locks him out of the spaceship, and he has to basically hold his breath and like open up the airlock and like actually like go in there and all that stuff to actually get into the spaceship and try and take control. There are a whole bunch of moments that really sort of emotionally charge me. I guess the latest thing that I've watched was maybe a year ago. I watched a movie called 5 centimeters, 5 centimeters per second. I think it's an anime, and that was just basically about these two individuals, a boy and a girl growing up, and how they, just how they grew up and how they grew closer to one another. It's a very beautiful movie, and it's very like visually stunning. And I had to take a walk after that movie because I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. But like there are a lot of moments. Yeah, sure. So after my undergraduate years at UT, I wanted to try something new because my undergraduate years I studied neuroscience. So after I graduated from that, I wanted to try something new, and I really knew I had an interest in film. So in order to sort of promote that sort of education in film, I attended the Austin School of Film, where I took a variety of courses. Some of the courses centered more on like the production side of it. But one of the courses I took was the digital filmmaking class, which is where I created my first short film. That short film it's called Forced to Swim. It's about a man unable to cope with a decision that he made in his past, and he's trying to decide whether or not he wants to live or continue living. And that's what ties back to like that that scene in Luther where he's like playing Russian roulette, like that. that scene itself is something that inspired the movie, or the short film rather. But basically, Forced to Swim, the title itself is an experiment. There's an experiment by the same name called Forced to Swim, which is a behavioral despair experiment where you take a rat, you put it in a vacuum of water, and you basically time how long it takes for the rat to stop trying to escape. And they use this test to test out different like antidepressants. And so that's an experiment that I've always been told about through my undergraduate years that I thought was really interesting. And I really wanted to try and capture that, not only emotion, but capture that sort of behavioral despair and sort of show it in a short film. And so that's what really inspired me to sort of make that short film. The other short film is an experimental short film that I created after taking an experimental short film class at Austin School of Film. That one is about an individual that has lost something and is developing bipolar depression. And the narrative itself is very because it takes an experimental aspect, the narrative does get lost in the experimentation. So it is kind of hard to fully understand if you don't know the actual narrative, because it's more up to interpretation because it's experimental characteristic. But yeah. I just hope y'all have a great time. I'm really honored to be here and to do this. And yeah, I hope y'all have fun. Well, I'm just really interested in like trying to, because right now I'm trying to further myself in like the film and theater community. So I basically saw this opportunity and I just thought it would be fun. It's new to get like a group of people together, sort of create like a sort of theater family. And it just seemed like a really fun experience, and it's something I wanted to try out.